this. And President Obama earning 4 Pinocchios from the Washington Post for a claim that the Post called, quote, ridiculous on just about every level. Here's what the president told a ritzy crowd about Republicans at a Democratic fundraiser in L.A. Here's the quote. Their willingness to say no to everything, the fact that since 2007 they have filibustered about 500 pieces of legislation that would help the middle class, just gives you a sense of how opposed they are to any progress, has actually led to an increase in cynicism and discouragement among the people who were counting on us to fight for them, said the president back on the 7th of May. Ellison Barber is a writer for the Washington Free Beacon, and she has been looking into this and writing on it today. Ellison, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me about this. Why did he get 4 Pinocchios?
Well, basically, the issue that he ran into is that he seems to have an inaccurate way of counting filibuster. So if we backtrack and we think about what a filibuster is, of course, everyone thinks of it as Rand Paul standing up and doing a filibuster like that. And it is. It's a tool that senators use to either delay action or prevent a final vote on a piece of legislation or a nomination. Cloture is a tool that's used to suspend debate and move it to where you take whatever legislation or nomination that you're debating, they put a time limit on that debate, and then they move it to the floor so that they can have a vote for final passage. But the thing is that those two things can actually occur independently. And while a cloture can be used to overcome a filibuster with a supermajority, it doesn't have to happen in conjunction together. You can have a motion for cloture just be filed without there actually being a filibuster. So what Washington Post is saying is they're saying, we looked at this, and actually that 500 number, that would be how many motions for cloture have been filed since 2007, not necessarily how many filibusters have actually occurred.
And they said the real number was like 130 something, right?
Right. They said there have actually been 527 motions filed since 2007 for cloture, but only 133 of those have actually been successful filibusters. But in the context of the president's sentence, even if he used that 133 number, it still would have been inaccurate because over 80 of those were actually filibusters for nominations. And that's different than legislation. And he specifically said that they had filibustered over 500 pieces of legislation since 2010 or since 2007.
Kind of thing happen, Ellison, because, clearly and all politicians do this, they're in an environment where they're kind of preaching to the choir, the crowd is revved up, they want to hear some, sort of dramatic things come out of the president as he's trying to do some fundraising. Well, what was the motivation here, and did he just think that nobody would pick up on it?
Right. I mean, I guess kind of you can look at this and you can think either one of two things happened. Either he doesn't understand the actual definition of a filibuster, which is highly unlikely because he was in the Senate and he is a smart guy, or he was using it as a kind of a political lie or a tool to embolden his base, because he was talking about minimum wage and pocketbook issues, keeping the Senate as well as taking back the House. And so he was really trying to rile them up and make them realize, hey, this is important. We really need to be on our game. We need to be fundraising more and more money. And so it seems like he may have exaggerated or used that lie of what is really just a completely inaccurate number and something that really shouldn't have happened to try and get his base to be more motivated and more engaged and probably donate more money because he was at a fundraiser for DCC.
We'll see. Maybe they'll raise the money anyway, or maybe the Washington Post will get people's attention. And probably he didn't think they would pick up on it, but they did. Ellison, thanks very much.
You bet.